I already started recording. It's the 26th day of April, 2015, and this is the Radical Agnostic, episode 8. Broadcasting from the Sonoran Desert in the beautiful Southwest America country, U.S. of America.
We know where we are.
Welcome to the show. It's I'm John. I'm here with Mark.
Hello.
And I'm here with the stowaway guest, Bryan Richter, everybody.
Howdy.
I'm excited about this show, you guys. We don't have a guest today because, well, let's just pretend it's intentional.
Yeah.
Because I decided that we needed to reconnoiter. The three of us get together, go over how the show's doing, and talk about whatever else is going on. I want to do a new segment called Anger Management with Bryan Richter.
Oh, God.
Where you tell tales of your...
Setting me up for success.
This is episode 8, I just found out.
Now we're oriented fully.
What's the last time that you, Bryan, had some kind of angry or threatening interaction with
the public?
With the public.
I think it was those. Was it those two cats that were beating up that girl out in front of my house?
That was about 4 or 5 months ago.
No, that was maybe a year ago. Like going on a year ago.
So what happened?
I was getting ready to go to class, it's math class, so I already have all this angst and anger because I fucking hate math. And I hear somebody screaming out front, so I look out the window and I see this guy throwing his girlfriend around, and he's got a buddy with him who's kind of like looking around, watching the corner. And so
the buddy was like keeping watch intentionally, like to let his friend.
Yeah.
So the guy was yelling at her.
Yelling at her. He fucking shoved her into like a telephone pole hard, man. Then he slammed her on the ground. He was knocking her around, like he was yelling at her. And my initial thought was, man, I'm gonna go out there. And then I thought, you know what? Maybe just call. It's
a hard decision. It's a really hard decision because it's like, this is not my business. Right. Like if it was two dudes fighting, you almost definitely wouldn't have gone out there. Is that right?
Maybe to get a better look.
Yeah,
but
through the fence.
Yeah, but like I'm not going out there. Y'all can settle that shit.
Right, because when it's two guys, you're thinking, well, one of them might have a legitimate grievance. Both of them might have a legitimate grievance. Neither of them might have one. The guy who gets his ass kicked, I go help him. He turns out to be the asshole.
Right.
He's the douchebag that he's the rapist. So you have no idea. But with a girl, now part of this inclination to go help is like a chivalrous, notion of going out and helping a woman because she's less able to defend herself.
Right.
And that, of course, is the rational side to this.
Well, now, if it would have been a dude like getting jumped by a couple dudes or something, I'm still in the...
Yeah.
If it's two guys squared up doing their thing and they look like they're both in agreement about we're going to throw down, like I don't want anybody coming out to break it up if like say you and I got to go outside and we're like, all right, well we're going to fucking settle this and then we're going to come back in and be cool.
And then some dude comes out and you're kicking my ass and he kicks you in the face.
Yeah. I'm like, no, dude, we're handling this between us.
Yeah.
Like, all right, so...
But that's more of a traditional, let's settle this with violence.
Yeah, but she's on the really bad end of it, man. I call 911, and they tell me, we don't know. I don't know when we can get somebody there.
Basically, goodbye.
And I'm like, they're kicking her ass, man. This dude's really kicking her ass. Like his friend's standing, like lookout for him, like making sure nobody's coming or whatever. But he's kicking this girl's ass.
Right.
You don't know when you can get somebody here.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, well I'm going out to help her then. And she says, no, sir, don't go outside.
Don't do that. There could be a lawsuit.
Yeah, and I said, well, I'm going outside, and you should probably get somebody here pretty quick because I'm going out armed. Well, then I just hung up.
Of course.
And she calls me back, like right away. 911's calling me back. So I told her, I said, look, I'm busy. I got to go.
Oh, man. This is intense. This is a good segment. I knew this would work out. And, it just flows right out of him.
So I hang up again, and when I'm walking down to my gate, and he's got her on the ground. He's kind of mounted on her.
Yeah.
And he's grabbing her lapels, and he's just slamming her on the ground. And he's yelling at her. He's like, "Go ahead, hit me, bitch."
On the street or on the grass?
On the that dirt.
The dirt, yeah, but it's hard. It's Tucson dirt.
Yeah, it's not right.
Yeah.
This ain't that soft, cushy, dark dirt you got in North Carolina.
This is nice grass, and there's wet soil.
Might as well be
sons of bitches with your soil.
So he's yelling at her, "Go ahead, bitch, hit me, bitch," and she's crying and screaming. So I just yell at him right away. I said, "I'm your Huckleberry Man. I'll fucking hit you." I said, "I'm coming out there to do that right now. As a matter of fact, you better get off the girl." So as I walk out the gate, he says, "It's none of your business. It's none of your fucking business, man." So I said, "Look, if you're going to beat up a girl in front of my house, I'm going to make it my business. So get off the girl." So he gets up, and I hear his buddy walking up beside me. So I don't even look at him. I just pointed at him. I said, "You're going to get 2 in the chest if you keep coming." So he says, "Oh, what, you got a gun?" Then his buddy looks down, and he notices that I actually do have a gun.
Is it in your waistband?
It's holstered.
Holstered in your waistband?
It's holstered in the waistband. So he says, "Oh, shit, he does have a gun." So I'm like, I'm feeling pretty good now. You know, I get ornery.
Yeah.
So I said, "Yeah, I always bring a gun when it's 2-on-1.
Right. Yeah, and, you can't go out there and use jiu-jitsu on 2 guys.
No.
You're going to get kicked in the head.
So I'm mad now, and I'm like, "You're lucky your buddy's here, because I would have left the gun inside and just come out here and fucked you up." And so I told the girl to get behind me, and I said, "You guys can take off unless you want to throw down, but you already know how it's going to go." And I said, "The cops are coming, so go." And so he's glaring at me for a minute, and then he starts walking. And the cops that they didn't know when they could get somebody there pull up like 20 seconds later.
Oh my God!
It's funny, they're not going to come. They're not going to come to help a girl who's getting the shit beat out of her and can't handle herself, but they're going to come for the guy who's going to go help her. Like that's when you decide to fucking come. When I said, "Oh, I'm going out there," but I'm going out there.
So you think that the dispatch told the cops, "Look, we got a crazy white guy."
Yeah, now there's a guy going out there with a gun.
Yeah.
I didn't give a fuck about the girl getting destroyed.
Right.
And how many stories have you read throughout the course of your life? Like, there's a famous one from New York or maybe it's LA, where some actress got attacked like out in the street, and the guy's just fucking stabbing her over and over, and nobody's helping her. Like, and I'm not going to be that guy, man. I'm not just going to sit there and watch this girl get beat to death in front of my house.
But it's,
man.
I forget what it's called. There's a scientific name for it, but it's the mob mentality.
It's like the bystander effect.
Yes,
the bystander effect.
Yeah. And if everyone else, the more people who are there, the lower the chance that someone.
Well, I'm not afflicted with that shit.
I know, but it's a regional thing. If you move to New York City, which I cannot imagine in a million years, but if you did, after 10 years, I kind of think you'd still be the same guy. But my point is, the culture does.
Yeah.
Affect.
Well, you're a product of your environment.
But also, like, I mean, I live in Tucson. It's not New York City. But about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I'm just chilling in my house, and I hear gunshots go off, and it sounds like it's right outside my door.
Oh,
and I mean,
hear it.
And it's at night, and then I hear this woman screaming, and I'm like looking around. I turn a light on, see if I can see anything. I don't see anything. I closed the one door that I had that was wide open, where it sounded like the gunshots came from, like right outside my door. And then I go to the front door and open it up, and there's still the steel door in front,
the security
closed
door.
Security door.
Yeah.
Right. And then I can't see anything, so then I was just like, because this woman is still screaming. So I open the door to go out, and then I see this car, and it's headlights are kind of pointed towards me, towards the house. And then it like takes off, goes north, and they fire a gun a couple more times
From the car?
From the car. Yeah.
What the hell? So they were just joyriders being insane. Unless they were chasing a guy who was on foot, and that's who they shot at after they drove away.
I don't know, but then so I watched them cross Congress and go north on the street that I live on, but north of the main street. Mm-hmm. And then they fire a couple more times further up there.
They're just unloading.
And there's still this woman screaming.
Who?
But I don't know where it's coming from. Like I can't tell.
Screaming woman.
Yeah, there's like some woman screaming in the distance a little bit, but I can't tell where it's coming from.
It's testing and like, Beef's echolocation skills.
Man.
And like some other neighbors, and then some other neighbors, like I see their lights come on and they come out, and we're all looking around, but we don't see anything. So it's like, you know, that's in Tucson where
so
we're not.
You never found the lady?
No, I never found the lady.
No more sirens or.
Nope. Well, and then, so as I'm looking around for this woman, about it's probably been about 5 minutes now since the initial gunshots. Cops come down. I see them, and they turn to go north on the streets of Westmoreland, north of Congress, which was where
the way they went.
The way they went.
Right.
And so then. And I watched that happen, but nobody comes to like near my house.
No police.
So you never get interviewed. Nothing.
No, and so finally I leave about 10 minutes later.
Well, right.
Go to the grocery store or whatever. Come back about half an hour later, and now there's cops outside my house looking at the street with a flashlight for I guess casings, whatever. Yeah. But so.
That's why I have a revolver. But the shell casings don't come out.
But my point is, like, so there was, you know, that's in Tucson.
Right.
There was probably 5 or 6 people in their house, maybe more, but not that many people. Like in New York City.
Wait, there's 5 or 6 people in Tucson?
No, right in that neighborhood, maybe.
Oh, right in the surround where they were shooting.
Yeah, at the time, whatever.
Right. So you're saying that.
But I'm saying in New York City, you got what apartments, like 10-story buildings, apartments, like 6, 7 of them, 8 of them.
12 million people.
And so there's this screaming.
Yeah.
There's this screaming going on that all these people are hearing, but then how many of them know where it's coming from? How many of them know?
But what's your point? Because you guys came out. You guys
came out. But I was not able to do anything.
Yeah. Right, but that's just a random happenstance, though. You would have maybe depending on the situation. You came out. I mean, in New York City, the point is they don't come out.
They don't even come out.
No, and that's what I'm saying. Oh. So the more that situations arise, and you don't, you look around and go, oh, I don't see anything going on, or you do come out and you get involved, and in a bad way, or the cops arrest you for, coming out and being, the less likely then you're going to come out, and so that's why it's not. I understand the thing where the
bystander.
I want to step up and I want to I want to help someone out.
Right.
But I also understand the bystander thing where it's like, I don't know what's going on.
I understand it totally. I've heard screaming. I've heard insane, horrible screaming in nearby apartments. I've heard gunshots. I've heard all kinds of horrific things, and 98% of the time I stay inside, and I'm like, fuck it, man. Like I'm working. Like it's midnight. That's when I work in the daytime, and then I take a break when Paula gets home, and then I work late at night. And yeah, man, I'm like, I gotta get this paper done. Like I can't go help the rape out there.
But I don't think about like I want to step up and help this person. I just think about like that. Like I would want. What if that was my wife out there? And that's the first thing I thought of. Like if that was my wife out there getting beat up, I would want somebody to go help her.
So
man.
wait a minute. Is this the chivalrous, the chivalric attitude? Is that correct, or is it just a bias? Because like you said,
well, you know what?
If it was a guy, just an innocent guy out there getting beat up.
Can I quote a stupid movie? Like I'm going to quote Bruce Willis from Live Free or Die Hard. He said, the kid says, I'm not heroic like that. And Bruce Willis says, there's nothing about being a hero that's fucking cool, kid. Like all this bad shit happens. He runs off this list. I won't bore you with that. But what he says is, but there's nobody else here to do it. So we're fucking doing it. If there was somebody else here, I would let them do it. But there's not.
Is that kind of how you think about soldiers?
Well, no. I mean, they I think they all have their own reasons for enlisting, and I think to some it's an honorable tradition that's handed down. Like my brother and I are the ones that are going to break that tradition in our family. We didn't go in.
You didn't have a cause. Your America. the military is the arm of heavily financed, moneyed interests, right?
Yeah, at this point, I mean,
I don't want to be Noam Chomsky
that
here,
wasn't always what I thought, though. You know, it's like
well, it wasn't always true.
Story. Like, if you want to get into that, like where my whole image of that came from,
eat the mic.
That all goes back to my dad. Like,
the patriotic.
Yeah, and my whole image of him and how I feel about soldiers, because him and all his friends. But
yeah,
like, to finish that story about the girl, because it's not a good ending either. Like, I went out and intervened.
Yeah.
But while they're walking away, she's behind me, and I said, "It's okay. Like, the cops are coming. Like,
eat the mic.
The cops are coming. You're going to be all right." And she tells me I should go with him. He wasn't going to hurt me, and I said, "He was hurting you. She's beat up. Like, you can see it. Her face is beat up."
I'm sorry, I lost you.
Yeah,
you should go. She told you. To go.
That she should go with this guy.
A home?
The dude who just beat her up.
Right, of course.
Yeah, so
there's nothing surprising about that.
She says, well, he wasn't going to hurt me. And I can already see she's beat up. Her face is swollen, like her lips busted. She's jacked the fuck up. She's all dirty.
Right.
And I said, he was hurting you. And she said, and I'm like, you want to go with him? I said, go, but I'll tell you this, man. Next time he's kicking your ass, I'm like, don't scream, because I came out here to risk my ass to save yours. And I'm just saying.
Right. Did you say that?
Yeah.
What'd she say?
She said, I'm sorry, and then she went with him. And then the cops got there, and I pointed him around the corner, and they got the dude. And
they left before the cops came.
Yeah.
So
but that's typical. And like, to finish my
they
thing,
got the guy though. They had him on the car when I was leaving.
Cool. Go ahead.
So this guy that I kind of knew went out and intervened in a street fight between two guys.
Yeah,
got in the middle of it.
See, that's just a guy that wants to fight.
Well, no, he didn't want to fight. He was trying to break it up.
Yeah, but why?
Because he felt like they shouldn't be fighting and whatever.
What?
But he got stabbed and killed.
Oh, Jesus, I'm sorry.
And then another thing
in that altercation.
Oh. Then another thing, a friend of mine just last night was at some bar in town. I don't know where it was. And he was sitting on this patio. This guy walks up to a girl sitting at a table, starts punching her in the face.
Oh, my God.
He stands up to yell at him, and the dude's like way bigger than he is. He's yelling at the guy.
Wait,
the guy's
who's
like,
he and who's...
My friend is yelling at the guy.
And who's bigger?
Punching.
The guy?
The guy that's punching the girl is way bigger.
Okay.
He's the only one on the whole patio. There's more people than just him yelling at the dude who's for punching the girl. The guy starts saying, "You want some? I'll give you some if you don't shut up."
Right.
And then basically the girl leaves with the guy.
Right then?
Yeah, like
a couple minutes
later.
later.
Yeah, like the my friend's like kind of not backing down, but also not trying to get into it with the dude.
There's two ways.
And basically then it's just like, oh, well, she's like, oh, well, let's just go before something happens. So she leaves.
Right. Same as in Bryan's story.
So it's like, why get involved when most of the time,
like it's not like a rape where a rapist is attacking a female that's stranger. Like, it's not that. Right, it's a couple.
I don't know that. I don't.
But
know
it's a guy at a
couple.
bar that comes up to him. A rapist would never start his attack in a public place. Right. That's not what they do.
I'm thinking about what he just said though, and I'm not even sure I did it for her. I think I did it for me.
You did it for you. That's what I was saying about the chivalry.
Because I couldn't fucking live with it if I knew something. If I just sit there and watch out my window while this girl gets fucking destroyed, or I just pull my car out and leave and go to class.
Okay. Like, that's a good motivation.
I couldn't live with
that's a good motivation.
I didn't do it for her.
Right.
Like, I did it for me.
And I understand that too. But what I'm saying is, even if you're doing it for you,
it's dangerous.
And you couldn't live with yourself, you got to weigh the pros and cons and say, like, is this girl actually going to even appreciate what I'm going to do?
Well, and that's probably why he hit me up with this question, because I fucking repeatedly do this shit. Like,
get involved.
Yeah.
Now, what you're saying though is empathy. So I do think it is for her. I disagree with you that it's for you, but there's another element that might be involved here, and that is, and this is never spoken of because it's not okay in today's culture. This is a masculine thing. It's kind of the dark side of the masculine, which is wanting to get into an altercation for no other reason than wanting the physical release and the challenge and getting hit. People sometimes men want to get hit.
Like, that's why I wanted to call the cops first, because I know how that shit goes.
You're a very aggressive person, though. So how can you?
I think that's changed a bit lately.
Oh, it's definitely changed.
The longer I've trained jiu-jitsu, the less I've wanted to fight.
Yes, but all right, let's go back 20 years then.
Oh yeah.
Or 15. You're still an adult, but you're young.
But I'm an idiot. At that point, I'm still dumb as fuck.
So you're kind of agreeing that is part of being masculine is a desire for a meaningless physical altercation.
Well, you know, it goes it's that.
Like we go to jujitsu and get twisted up in horrible, painful positions, and people, a lot of women and some men, a lot of men look at us like, why? Why do you do that? It hurts. They just don't get it.
Yeah.
But we don't have a good explanation for it either, except that, you know, if you master a martial art over 10 years, like we almost have, I mean, the feeling is incredible.
If you ever really mastered jiu-jitsu.
Well, no, there's no mastery, but you gotta call the black belt something.
Right, yeah, well, maestro, so yeah.
So I'm just saying that's a logical explanation for why we do it. But there's a side that isn't logical that we can't explain.
That likes the fighting contact.
I wanted to get hurt.
Well, I didn't want to get hurt, but you like.
You didn't want to get injured.
You like the fighting contact.
The contact, yeah.
You like it.
Mark, what is it? Do you have this ever? Do you have an outlet, like a physical outlet like that, where you want, like?
Because I do like the fighting. I
remember.
I fucking miss it right now, man.
Talking about it.
Yeah.
Mark and I used to work at Vaudeville together. Mark was doing sound and booking the bands, and I was like, just a grunt doing cleaning up. And I remember a time with the sadly deceased Rick Ivarian was at the bar after hours, and it was you, me, Amy, Rick, and maybe one other employee. And you guys, something happened, man. I have no idea what started it, but Rick punched you in the face, and then you started to come after him, and Rick is a tough guy and a great guy, and I'm not saying anything shitty about him, and I'm really sad that he's gone, but he ran away when beef started approaching. He ran away.
Probably was a good fucking move.
He was honestly. and then I got in the middle of it, and I started trying to stop you, and I think I was a white belt at the time, about 160 pounds, ooh. And we tripped over something, and we fell down, and you fell on top of me, and you were pissed, dude. You were like, John, what the fuck? You go, I work here, is what you were saying. You should be on my side. And I was saying, I am on your side, but you're the guy advancing. So what am I going to do, grab Rick and turn my back to you while you start punching him and me in the process? So anyway, so you've been in fights, dude.
Oh, yeah. And I'm not going to say that I don't or have never felt the release of physical activity.
Yeah.
You know, when you get involved with something like that, your not testosterone, your adrenaline goes up. And I've been reading this book. I can't remember what it's called. Something about like war gives life meaning or something like that. But it's basically about how people do when they get involved in stuff like that. It elevates all of your life, like your life, instead of just humdrum. You're going to the office and going home and doing the dishes.
So you're
and
talking about like
blah blah blah,
like the Chuck Palahniuk after fighting, everything else gets the volume turned down.
Yeah. And then and a lot of people, when they do get involved with that stuff, that when they come home, it's like, what am I doing? I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, they feel like they're in this world that they don't understand. We're talking about combat veterans now.
Combat veterans.
And this, I don't want to speak for them, but I feel like I've almost tried to feel what they feel, and I've almost contacted that feeling, which is you look around at Walmart and Taco Bell and traffic and buying books at a bookstore, and just the whole structure of society looks so arbitrary and stupid and like false
compared to the life or death struggle of war.
Exactly. Compared to bullets flying at you
and all these silly fucking choices that we have that don't matter.
And that's the thing, dude. Here's another thing that you can't say today that is probably true, and it's that a lot of combat soldiers enter the military to kill people and to be shot at and to save their friends. And this is not a bad thing. You can't. The warrior is an eternal archetype of human civilization. So you can't talk shit about any eternal archetype. They're all valuable to the whole human thing, and the warrior is one of those. Oh. So as a liberal, I want to be, go that radical liberal side where you hate soldiers. Well, no, I'm never going to do that because I value what they do. I understand it. There's a part of me and you too. Like, I don't know about you, Mark, but we have like the percentage of desire for fear and overcoming and physical hardship, we have that desire, but it's like 1 point too low to send us into the military to like enlist as Marines.
Well, but a lot of people enter the military not thinking that they're going to go into combat.
Yes, that's true.
You know what I mean? And so there's lots of people like you and Bryan both that go in the military and then get into a situation like that. And that's what I'm saying too, is I'm not saying that everybody that gets into a physical confrontation, like I'm not saying they become junkies.
I had signed up
because
Did you know that I had signed? I was going through the process of going into the Army.
I took the ASVAB, and they turned me down because of my the same thing I talked about last week, that fucking drug misdemeanor for the paraphernalia. That kept me out of the fucking military too. Not only did I lose several jobs, and the Air Force wouldn't have me. You have to have like a PhD and be blonde to get into the Air Force.
Especially considering the age that it happened at. It's so fucking ridiculous.
When I think about it, Bryan, the fact that this marijuana paraphernalia charge has haunted me this long, and all of my friends too, my conservative friends, I know you guys don't like drugs and you think they're bad, and that's a legitimate perspective. There are bad things about drugs. I don't think you see the whole picture, but you guys know me, my conservative friends. You guys know me as a friend. Do you really want me to lose jobs and not be able to join the armed forces because of I decided to take a substance that made me happy and sociable and never kills anyone?
And this happened when you were 19.
19 years old.
19.
Do you guys really agree with those drug laws?
Well, and how many people were out there making solid, well-informed decisions at 19?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I was dumb, man. I did a lot of stupid shit. There's a lot of people that are doing a lot of stupid shit. And it's ridiculous to ruin a guy's life over a fucking marijuana pipe. It's ridiculous. They're like, no, you ruined your life with marijuana. Actually, his life was just fine until you charged him with some dumb shit.
No, I put a plant in a bowl and allowed it to make me be creative and happy for a couple hours. That's what I did. I didn't rob a bank. I didn't steal something from someone else. I didn't hurt another person.
So you know you're preaching to the choir here. Marijuana prohibition's always been a fucking joke to me. Alcohol is cool, but marijuana's off limits. It's ridiculous.
That's so
it's not the government doesn't care whether or not you get high. They care whether or not they can make fucking money off of it.
Right, and hemp is so easy to grow.
Yeah. That it has more to do with money than anything else. They don't give a shit if you get high, or prescription drugs wouldn't be so prevalent and alcohol wouldn't be legal. They don't give a shit if you get high.
And as I said last week, they get working class conservatives to agree with that. So they have a financial interest in keeping marijuana illegal, and hemp, the plant, which doesn't even bloom into marijuana necessarily.
No, which is so environmentally friendly.
It's a great fucking plant.
Like
it's illegal. I don't know if you guys knew this out there, but it's illegal in the U.S. to grow hemp that doesn't turn into marijuana. There's no THC in it.
They use it for fiber and for cloth and for textiles.
A million uses.
Yes, a million uses.
And my point is that...
and doesn't get you high.
Right. It's not even...
You could smoke a field of it. And never get high.
Hemp.
It's industrial hemp.
But you know,
but it's still prohibited.
Good luck getting the public convinced on that, because like with medical marijuana coming up, the next fight, as I see it, is going to be allowing kids to use it in certain ways.
That's not because no one's going to recommend that.
But there are kids who have these seizures, who it's the only thing that helps them.
But those are CBDs. I think those are CBDs. It's not even THC. Still, they don't even get high off that.
I think you can.
Like I said, convince the public that they're not getting high. Convince the public that this strain of marijuana or whatever is different.
Well, that kind of is a reasonable debate, though, because
I honestly think that's going to happen over time. Enough parents are going to have testimonials of their kids who were having 30 seizures a day.
For extreme medical reasons, I endorse it, but it is a legitimate debate because getting high on psychoactive chemicals when you're young is
not a good idea. Yeah,
it's not good. They're not getting high.
Well.
No, I'm a little confused about what we're talking about then, I guess.
You're saying that
you were using
it
for different reasons. It's like medical reasons.
Yeah, definitely medical. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Talking about for the medical reasons, I'm talking about like the CBTs or whatever. It's not THC, it's the other component.
CBD.
and supposedly it doesn't affect you the way THC does. But still, there are kids 7 years old, 8 years old. They're having these seizures. That's the only thing that seems to stop them. Doctors still will not prescribe it.
Well, yeah, because the marijuana industry is not paying the doctor to push their pill.
Right, but what I'm saying is,
even
as it gets more, as we allow, and you have more freedom, and you're able to choose this medical marijuana, there's still going to be instances where people are like, nope, can't use it.
Right.
No, that's bad. You don't even like, look, this is not even, we'll do studies. This isn't even affecting you, your child as like they're smoking a joint.
I think
it's not even the same thing.
I think they honestly know that. That's why it's not your primary care physician that prescribes this. You go to a whole nother doctor to get a medical marijuana card. You don't go through your primary care physician. And I think it just dawned on me that might be part of the reason that they do it, because of that underlying and kind of traditional prejudice against it. What baffles me about it is that if you really look at, I don't think most people know that most of your medicine comes from plants. Like most of your antibiotics are plant derived, found in the rainforest, which is why deforestation for fucking McDonald's hamburgers is so horrible, because we haven't even discovered some of the plants that can.
No, those pharmaceutical companies spend millions down there
researching
for new species.
So why is it so odd that this particular plant has medicinal properties? Why is that fucking so hard for people to wrap their head around?
It's the power of misinformation, starting with reefer madness.
God, what a fucking joke.
That racist. It's that power. And, whenever anyone tells you, I don't get why companies spend so much money on commercials, because I don't respond to advertisement. Didn't you say this, Mark? And I tell them, nah, man, we do. Trust me. They do studies on this. We do get affected by those advertisements in one way or another. It might be subtle, and 99% of those products you probably don't buy, but the ones you do are ones that are probably the result of targeted advertising.
But
they got your favorite song on there or whatever,
If I'm buying something, if I'm buying a product, the only thing I look for is what's the cheapest one.
You don't buy anything that's more expensive because you like it?
If I got some other brand that's cheaper, that's what I'm buying.
Ugh. You eat shitty food.
You know that I can't. I don't prescribe. I prescribe to almost the opposite theory of beef. I'm the anti-beef when it comes to. Well, because I'll tell you, there's some endeavors that just won't work out in. Like if you're backpacking, you don't want to buy the cheapest
that's
gear.
A good point.
Like you don't.
When your survival is in the
when your survival's in the bag. Like I don't. I always get the best stuff.
Like gear, cars, stuff like that.
So we're differentiating.
Guns,
but I would never look at Mark Beef and be like, "This is your average American consumer."
Yeah,
like, this is the guy who's walking a normal path.
Like, stuff like that. I'm going to research. I'm going to try to get a good price on and buy the best quality for the best price. But food, if I'm going to go buy a box of crackers, it's going to be the cheapest box of crackers.
Okay, really?
If I'm going to buy a head of lettuce, it's going to be the cheapest.
Philadelphia, right?
You have to get Philadelphia when you get cream. Dude,
I went to the store yesterday to get cream cheese, dude, and I was looking at him, and I'm like, there was not even a question. I looked for Philadelphia. I grabbed that. I didn't even look at the prices.
The only reason I look at the prices is just find how much I'm going to be paying.
Right.
Because I'm buying it.
Because I'm getting the Philly.
I'm getting a Philly.
Yeah, I'm getting a Philly.
Oh, wow, Mark. I'm not eating over at your house.
I know. I dig that about you, but I can't. The dude does not abide.
So Mark's been on this show for 2 months now, and I ask anyone if they have plugs at the end, and he never says anything. And I find out via Facebook that you have a GoFundMe for a book that you've been commissioned to write about the Tucson punk rock scene.
Well, Facebook doesn't show me shit. I don't even know. We're friends on Facebook. I don't even know about it. Is it on Facebook? How did you find out?
It's on Facebook.
Well, it's not on Facebook. A friend of mine did it created it. I didn't create it. So a friend of mine created it, and I'm just like,
that's cool, man.
I know it's cool. And it's raised like almost $1,000.
So it's people.
I'm not going to talk crap about it, but
is it someone who's asking you to write this book?
No one's well, I've just been thinking about writing this book because basically Tucson, the underground music scene has been very glanced over, glossed over. It's not been documented well
by the local media,
by anything,
right?
Like even by itself. Most of the bands that are ever here, they never record. They'll play a couple shows. Maybe they'll have a name on a flyer. And
they don't have an album. You're saying?
Well, yeah, they don't even record demos. They have a practice tape or whatever.
I think there's some good bands that I've heard that I don't know that like did Fucked or Blues Crusher ever record anything.
They both did record stuff, and Fucked actually had a CD come out eventually.
Did you ever get to see either of those bands?
No.
Oh man,
I've seen a million downtown.
Blues Crusher was awesome. So was Fucked.
Did they disband before my time?
You know, Obi,
Fucked
right?
has done a couple of reunions since then.
They might have even played at Vaudeville once.
Yeah, they played at Vaudeville.
So, Mark, you love punk rock and hardcore music. That's your genre, right?
Well,
don't beat around the bush.
Let's not
admit
it.
But I like metal too. I like
but like if you're
your favorite shit is always underground punk. You never
usually
you do like a yearly best bands of the year thing on Facebook, and I've never heard of any of them. And I know underground music, like I think I do, but it's mostly metal and electronic and stuff like that. But I don't know who the hell you're talking about. And you here's my reaction, and I'm probably an asshole, but I look at this and I'm like, really, are these the best bands of the year?
You're such a fucking snob when it comes to music, though.
I know, but I've never heard this. And then it's called like fecal matter or something. And I'm like, really? Though, I mean, I'm not saying that I assume that it's bad music. I'm just saying, is this like 2-chord punk band really the best band of the year, Mark? When like beautiful music is coming out by more,
it's all subjective, though, right?
But
it is.
But is it what? You really?
I don't think I. To be fair, I don't think I ever use the word best. I'll use top. I'll use my favorite.
Okay, yeah,
or my top.
No, but that's what I'm talking about.
But
I'm not accusing you.
Or you posted one the other day that was like.
That's not saying.
Mark,
right.
I'm asking about you. I know you're not saying we have to like it, but I'm saying you really think that song is the best of the year?
Yeah.
But don't you know music that any of us have ever heard of is good to you?
You're
like is great to you?
I can guarantee you that you're not because it's not a major percentage of what I list. You don't even notice it. But like, what was her name? She came out a couple years ago. Female R&B. Soul, Janelle something.
Adele?
Janelle Monáe.
I don't know.
So we haven't heard of that, Mark. That's not a good example.
It's a very big, major label crap.
I don't listen to R&B.
Okay, well, I mean, I thought that was one of the best albums of that year.
Okay.
And it's, it was listed in all kinds of Rolling Stone and Spin and blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
But, and my tastes tend to run towards... Yeah, more punk rock
But when you listen to music at home, is it CDs through a stereo? Is it a good quality sound, or what? Like, because I don't know, man. A lot of these bands that you love are really poorly produced, and I know that's not their fault. They just don't have the resources yet. But to me, I love putting headphones on and listening to well produced music, and most of the time that's going to be my favorite music of the year. Like even really weird underground bands like
what's your favorite thing out right now?
What do you mean out?
What are you listening to right now? Like the thing you can't get out of your I'm headphones.
Listening to the new Aphex Twin album, Zero. Yeah. That's what I can't. I when I get like a little buzzed or whatever at night, and I lay down, put the headphones on, the same ones I'm wearing here, these Sennheiser headphones, and I throw on some Aphex Twin. It almost always is like a transcendental experience.
Well, I'm going to contend that if you're not having sex with Aphex Twin, you're not having the most effective sex you can have.
Yeah, the sex with music, though, is a real tricky one. Not everyone does that.
Yeah,
I respect it.
Headphones get in the way.
Well, yeah, I leave the headphones out of it, but I do have Bose sound. It's good.
Bose.
It's good sound. That's a good record, though, man.
It's so
Zero,
good,
yeah.
And when I listen to
you
something...
turn me on to those guys.
And it's just one guy, Richard James. And if you, like, this is what I don't get. Like, I understand how the music you like, I can like it too. Like, if I get into the mood for punk rock and hardcore, and I just stretch out a little and throw it on, and be like, let me, take me into this mindset, I'll enjoy it. It's great shit, man. But I can't understand you liking that more than a Sennheiser headphones Aphex Twin, beautifully constructed, magnificent sculpture of sound.
So
I can't stand Aphex Twin.
So what are you listening to right now, Beef? What can't you get out? What can't you get out of your headphones?
I've just been listening to old stuff, and a band that I'm in has been recording, so I've been listening to that.
Okay.
A lot.
Well, what is it?
The band's called Junkie Vomit, and it's just recording that we did at a friend's house on an 8-track.
You play guitar?
Play bass.
Oh, nice.
And so just been listening to that over and over again and trying to figure out little screw-ups here and there that want to change and mixing and all that kind of stuff.
Do either of y'all listen to blues?
I listen to freaking Buddy
Blues?
Guy.
Blues, yeah.
Buddy Guy.
Have you heard
Junior Wells and Buddy Guy both are really good.
Buddy Guy is sick, and actually Ketchum, I think, Kevin Ketchum turned me on to him. I play him at every Friday open mat, dude.
Have you heard Gary Clark Jr.?
Damn right, I got Austin? The blues. No, I haven't. I don't know anything in that genre.
Man, let me turn you on. I'm going to bring it this Friday to open mat thing, because
right.
Harold gave me shit about it last time. He's like, well, we listened to in here like it was a mellow song, but...
Oh, he liked the Buddy Guy.
Yeah.
But Buddy Guy's really energetic. A lot of soloing, a lot of singing.
He has a couple slow songs on the record, but I've been into that and that.
Everybody out there, just go on YouTube, take 7 minutes out of your day, type in Buddy Guy, listen to the most popular song. That dude is awesome. I heard he's coming here. He's like 90 years old, this dude.
I think he just played.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like beginning of April.
All right, who's your favorite band ever? Just,
I don't have
just pick one from the top 10.
Favorite band ever that like everyone knows, Slayer or Metallica.
Yeah,
they're awesome. Or Sabbath.
Those are all awesome bands. But I don't know, man, because like you love music. It's like it's a huge part of your life, but you don't get excited about it.
Well, I don't. That's just I don't get excited about much.
Yeah,
What
is that? Is that just? What's that called?
It's called anhedonia, right?
Anhedonia. That's
like,
exactly
right.
That's
the far end of it. It's like the inability to take joy from like to take joy from things.
Yeah.
Anhedonia.
That's it, man. You hit it. You do. You have that.
John has figured it. He's like, you have that.
This is an official diagnosis.
What's the cure?
I don't know.
So, guys, Mark Beef, look it up. GoFundMe. He has a thing. You have like $800. So that money just goes into your bank account, or what?
Yeah, I want somebody to start a GoFundMe.
So, the one cool thing about GoFundMe over Kickstarter is, so when you do a Kickstarter, you go like, I have a goal of whatever, $10,000.
Yeah.
If you don't reach that goal, then you don't get any money. And nobody and anyone that said they were going to donate any money doesn't have to pay any money.
Oh, right.
With GoFundMe,
you just get the money.
You just get the money, and they give it to you every week.
So, are you writing the book?
So I am writing the book, and
how many pages do you have?
Right now, I've got an outline and family tree, history of bands, and basically, like I said, it's not really documented very well. So what I'm actually going to need to do, and this is where most of the money is going to come in, is I need to talk to people and get oral histories for a lot of this stuff down.
Interviews, yeah.
And a lot of people don't live in Tucson anymore.
Yeah, but a lot of them do, right?
No, a lot of them do. But there's a lot of people
he'll love to do it.
Yeah.
Talk
for 6 hours. What I'm saying is, so a lot of the money,
he can't wait.
If I get this, is going to be spent on traveling to talk to people that were involved in stuff.
That's cool. You're doing. That's exactly what a journalist should do.
Take Bob with you.
Bob's best. Yeah. Oh, jeez, poor Bob.
I'm gonna lay off Bob right away.
Yeah.
I love Bob. I can't be mean to Bob.
Yeah, he is his lifelong obsession with hating "quote unquote" hippies, which isn't a thing anymore. It was the same with Dan Curry. He hates hippies. He's a vegan.
Doesn't Dan hate everybody?
He's a vegan.
Like, he hates everybody. Yeah. Dan hates Americans. He hates Israelis.
With all of those
Russians,
with all those downtown guys like Dan and Bob, I'm always like, where are these hippies that are plaguing your life? Like, are they out congregating outside your door, like doing a drum circle? Like, where are they? Why are you so dedicated to hating them? All right. That's enough.
That's fucking awesome.
So, guys, give some money to Beef for GoFundMe. He's going to put together a really good book. And, Mark, I'm a professional writer, so if you want me to help you format and put it together once you have the stuff, I'll be happy to do that for a large fee.
All right.
For a big cut of that GoFundMe. And if anybody's out there listening to me, there's Deftones and Incubus are doing a summer tour. They're not coming here. They're coming to Dallas. Like, if you want to set up a GoFundMe for me to go to Dallas to see Deftones, that would just be fucking awesome.
That's a real cause.
So, yeah, it'd be great. I got friends down there, so I already have a place to stay, so I don't need a lot.
What do you guys think of this episode?
I think we should get drunk while we do it more often.
Did we start recording it yet?
Yeah, how far in are we already?
We're 45 minutes in.
Really? Yeah.
Let's go to 1:15 because I want to keep going.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, the one thing that I wanted to talk about before we left the combat stuff was, and like, there are people who are itching for a fight and want to get into a fight.
Let me break in for 10 seconds. All I'm saying is I think that among combat troops, the majority, maybe let's say 60%, and that's completely made up. I don't know this. But I would say 60% of them are the guy I'm talking about. Wanted to go, wanted to fight, wanted to kill, wanted to save their friends and overcome a very difficult obstacle. And this society cannot stand the idea of wanting to kill, but it's real. I'm sorry. I went to a military high school. Colonel Russell taught military science. He was a lieutenant colonel, served in the first Iraq war, the bullshit one. He was a tank commander, and he was shelling the cars on that highway of blood or whatever, the highway of death. He was one of the guys doing that. And he goes, "Do you boys know why I joined the Army?" And we were like, "Oh, no." And he goes, some kid was like, "To serve your country?" And he was like, "Hell no, to kill people." That's what he said.
Yeah.
And that's stuck in my head ever since. And I did appreciate the honesty of that. But that's how I think the majority of combat troops feel. Now, go ahead.
Well, and that might be true, but what the book that I was talking about war giving life meaning, there's a bunch of people, pacifists even, that we know would be medics in the war. And it's still just being in that sort of situation. It heightens everything. And it makes you just feel stuff more.
Yes.
And it's like, it's not just like, oh, I'm going to go to the store and get a bag of groceries. It's like, oh, there's these people over here that need my help and attention because they're going to die, other words. And so it's...
So I don't know. Are you disagreeing with me in
No,
a way?
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying it's not all... When I was talking about
I
war...
think what I'm getting is you're saying it's not all wanting to kill. It's
Well,
the whole experience of...
But that's what I did. I put it in that list.
Yeah.
I said wanting to kill, wanting to save your buddy, wanting to overcome physical...
But it could be not... You might not want to be there at all.
Right.
You
that
might
happens too.
prefer to be at home with your dog and cat, talking to your kids, whatever. But
you enlisted.
Or you got drafted?
No, not anymore. Not since Vietnam.
Okay, but people have been drafted, right?
Okay,
yeah,
but
are we talking about
completely
just
different...
within the last 5 years?
I think we're talking about...
I thought we were talking about war in general.
The last 40,
like war and
the
how
last
it happens.
40 years, there's been no draft. So my
fine.
My point about the composition of combat troops who are like this is that it's completely different now than it was during the draft. The draft is a whole other bag of garbage because... Those guys, World War II and Vietnam, I look at those troops very differently because they're the people you're talking about. These are the teachers and the science guy and the pharmacy attendant.
In World War II, they lined up around the block, man. Guys killed themselves because they couldn't get in.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
And
so it's a completely different population, Mark.
No, it's not a completely different population because the people that would have been drafted now, if their draft was in effect, are a lot of times signing up because they want a job. Because they can't get a good job any other way. So they're signing up for the military.
You're absolutely right.
And they're coming from the ghetto.
But I think what John's saying is, though, that in World War II, there were doctors and teachers and fucking lawyers and guys who had good jobs signing up, and that's not the case now.
After 9/11, you have the same thing.
Right. But I get what you're saying, that for socioeconomic reasons, guys are going in and they're not going in because they want to go to war. They're going in because it's their best option, because they get a GI Bill, because they get a future out of the deal, right?
Correct me if I'm wrong, though.
Right.
If you enlist today, if you don't want to fight and don't want to get in combat, there's a way to engineer your enlistment so that happens. The vast majority even of people in the military
on your MOS,
never see combat. It's a very small minority of people service.
Yeah, infantry guys and airborne guys.
If you want to go to combat, you sign up for the infantry.
Well, the situation of combat has completely changed too. I mean, most people that are killing anybody are in like an isolated room pushing a button. It's not like you're, marching on the ground, boots on the ground, all that.
You're talking about drones.
Well, drones, if you're in a tank or if you're in a plane.
But still,
it's like
in the Air Force, though, it's only
very few
small
people in the
minority.
military actually face an attacker face to face and either stab them or shoot them like that close.
Right.
Hand-to-hand combat type stuff is not really happening that much.
Well, in Iraq and Afghanistan, it did happen.
It did.
Well, when they're going place to place, and
but what you're saying is now that the ground war is largely over, that's not the majority of the combat engagements. There
I thought
Air
we were
Force
just
and drones and armor and artillery and that.
And I'm not disagreeing with John that people don't go into the military wanting to kill people. They do. But there's plenty of other people that join the military that don't want to kill anyone.
No, I think
don't even think about that.
I think most people that join do not want to kill and do not want to be in combat.
So I think
the vast majority. But the fact is,
what you're saying is the
majority,
guys who sign up for a combat MOS willingly.
Yes,
like, I want to go into the Marines. I want to go into the infantry.
All the guys we know did that. Nick signed up for the infantry or whatever. He went into the direction where he knew he would end up in combat.
Right.
All the guys we know that went to combat. I mean, if
you
guys are listening,
that
correct me if
wanted to go.
They wanted to go into combat. Because the army, the military is huge.
When I was signing up, that's what I asked for. My ASVABs were really high, so they were telling me to go into this or that.
You didn't want to be a mechanic.
No.
You didn't want to be an airplane mechanic on an aircraft carrier.
I told them I wanted
sees combat.
I wanted air assault. That's what I was asking.
But all the guys we know who have been in combat, been in the shit, I'm sure Andy too, signed up for that. Chuck Smith. You guys let me know on Facebook if you're listening. Did you guys... And
I wish we could get that dude Chuck on here, man.
I know. I invited him, but he lives like 800 miles away.
Oh man, start a GoFundMe for that. Get Chuck Smith to Tucson for the Rad Agnostic, man. Get him out here.
Chuck Smith is the man, dude. He's an insane, super left liberal combat veteran. Has been in the shit for a long time. I believe he fought in Somalia. I believe he fought in Iraq. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chuck. I'm sorry. And this dude is one of the pros, man. When you see him in his like battle gear and everything, he's been in there, and now he's a super liberal. He's basically,
and he's a guy that I like though because, and we're not friends on Facebook, but I read you guys' dialogue and he's informed too. So
he's a very smart man.
Yeah,
and he's a nice guy, and he does jujitsu.
Really?
Oh my God, he's a purple belt.
Oh no shit!
Under Hainer and Huron.
What does Crowley have to say about that? Because don't you know him through Crowley?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and Chuck's an atheist too, right?
Oh, hardcore.
I'd like to get Crowley on here too, just to bust his fucking chops for like 2 hours.
He'll just sit here and take it. It won't be interesting.
He will. He'll help us out.
But anyway, Mark, we might disagree on the numbers, but we're in agreement in general. I know that most people that sign up for the military don't want to kill. My point is that some of them do. And that is something that you can't really say in this day and age, right? Politically correct culture, where we've gone, and I don't know if it's good or bad where we've gone.
Who can't say it? You can't say that there's.
Well, I think if you start saying stuff like that, you're on a watch list.
Or the people themselves can't stand up and say, "I joined because I want to kill people."
Yeah, they have, what I'm saying, not can't, but they have an intense social pressure not to say it. I'm a guy who gets off on people listening to my voice, and so starts a show. I don't matter in this equation, but those guys. They can't say that. They have to be it has to be this whole patriotism hero thing. They can't. I don't think a lot of them can say what they really feel. And I think what they really feel is now I'm fucked up because I went to combat and it was horrible. But I wanted to go in there and test myself, just like Bryan and I go into this jiu-jitsu academy and get our asses kicked for 5 years until we learn the game.
I'm really bad following orders and doing what I'm told and being regimented into something. So I did the stupid. Was walking down the street after graduating high school one day, and the Marines came and swooped me up and said, "We'll buy you lunch. We just want to take you in, and you want to."
Was this early '90s or?
This was 88, 89.
Oh my God! I was 7.
I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Buy me lunch.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Then I went there and did their test, and they're like, "Oh, you can do anything you want in the Marines.
Yeah. You got like a 99.
Join up, and you can do anything you want." I'm like, "Yeah, can I be the guy? I want to be the guy with the riding crop that moves the pieces around on the big giant wrist board. That's what I want to be."
Oh, you said that?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Like,
you went through that whole experience just to fuck with them.
Yep.
I love you. Did the riding crop, moving the pieces around like in Dr. Strangelove.
Yeah.
He's like, my understanding of military is entirely formed by movies.
Yeah. It's funny because I thought we were watching Captain America last night because I always do. And they were taking the little Nazi flags off the board and putting them in a little box beside it with the riding crop.
The riding crop. Or the pool, the thing in pool the bridge where you put the Q on it.
Yeah.
Is it lame to use the bridge, the little bridge and pool?
Is it
you don't have to because you're
even
like
allowed?
80 feet fucking tall, so it doesn't matter to you.
Dude, I'll just lean over that table right from the corner.
Yeah, for
go all the way diagonally across it.
It's stubby guys like me that need that bridge.
And girls.
But
I don't know.
Which is more sissy, the bridge or the little stubby Q?
Ooh, the stubby Q.
Well, it depends though, because sometimes they stick the table in a corner, like they have the pool table's in a fucking closet, and you can't you either got to
get to that side.
That angle doesn't work.
Oh man, we did karaoke last night. I wanted to sing "Don't You Forget About Me" by Simple Minds.
Right.
Of course. Da, da, hey, 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 hey.
That's probably getting cut out.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that gets nixed. That song, it's Simple Minds.
Where were you at?
Shooters. Yeah, we went to the Pima County Fair.
That movie altogether, dude, it changed
Breakfast Club?
Yeah, it made it okay for preppy girls to date me.
Say it again.
Breakfast Club, man. Made it happen for me.
It made it okay for hot preppy girls to date the outcast, long-haired
stoner
pot
guy.
smoker.
Yeah, it was all right then.
And you did have long hair.
I did.
So did I.
I didn't see the movie, but some girl sat down beside me in class and she said, "Oh my God, you're John Bender," and things immediately. I gotta go see the movie to see if that's a good thing. Yeah, it worked. It worked out good, man. Dude,
oh my God! You guys are about the same age.
People finally stopped making fun of the sandwiches I ate.
With cheese balls in them?
Yeah.
Is that what you
Captain
had?
Crunch and
Oh man, that was awesome, dude. Mark's been shot by a firearm.
You been shot?
I've been shot.
Let's hear it. What happened?
Yeah,
Mark?
let's hear about.
Oh my God, he's holding up his elbow, and there's a 5-inch scar.
Stayed in my elbow, but
it's in there.
Yeah, I mean they did an operation on it, so basically it blew my elbow out.
Yeah.
I got shot by a 9mm Glock with hollow points.
Oh.
And it was at a party, and a girl that I was friends with, she was friends with this guy that lived at this house, and he had 2 roommates. One of the roommates was in Alaska at the time, the other fishing, doing the whole summer work thing.
Right.
And the other guy was, I don't know where he was. But the 2 that were living there were kind of having difficulties between them. The girl asked the one guy that was there if this band could come play and they have a party and blah, 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 get a cake. And he was like, yeah, sure, whatever. So party's going on. Other dude comes home from the bar with a friend of his and sees a party that he didn't know about and is I guess, perturbed. I don't know.
Right.
And so he goes up to the dude who lives there and is like, what the hell's going on? What's this all about? And starts giving him grief. And my friend goes up and tells the dude to leave him alone, kind of gets in the middle. His friend, the other guy that came with him from the bar, kind of steps up and pushes the girl. And so as soon as I see that, then, and this is another thing
the
about
girl
getting involved, yeah. So I'm like, I see that. I kind of go to deal with stuff, and I see that the guy that just pushed my friend has a gun in the back of his pants.
Oh.
And so as now there's a little bit of scuffle and people yelling and whatever. I see the guy go to reach for the gun, and so I just like kicked him square in the back and went to grab his gun at the same time.
Nice.
And he flies across the room. The gun kind of flies out of his hand and my hand, lands on the ground. He jumps on top of it. I jump on top of him.
Oh.
I'm punching him and trying to... He's got his hand on the gun. I got my hand on the gun.
You're punching him in the face with your other hand.
Punching him with the other hand, yeah.
Nice.
And
must have fucked
he
that
gets...
dude up.
And so I'm trying to keep... He's trying to point the gun up at me. I'm trying to point it down at him. It ends up being like God. This. Like so,
pointed at you.
Barrel's at me, but pointed away from me.
Right.
So
you thought
goes
that was
off.
okay.
It goes off, and it hits my
Do you know
right elbow.
Who pulled the trigger?
He did. I didn't. He had his finger actually in the trigger guard. I didn't. So so it shoots me in the elbow. I basically what I've been told is I said, "Oh, you shot me," and continued to punch him. And then friends of mine grabbed me and pulled me off of him and took me to the hospital, and that's what I remember of the situation.
Do you know what happened to the gun? Did he just...
So the gun, supposedly what happened was he got up after this all, and he pointed the gun at somebody else and went to pull the trigger, and luckily since it was a Glock, it had jammed.
Well, Glocks are good.
Glocks are good. What probably happened is it was under you guys, so it couldn't cycle properly. Because the Glock will keep firing.
Oh, that's what it was. It hadn't cycled to the next round.
I bet it hadn't cycled to the next round.
When it shot you, it was on the ground.
I bet it didn't cycle properly because it was pinned. The slide didn't cycle properly.
Because Glocks are reliable unless you use shitty reload ammo.
Yeah. So that probably what happened.
Like I said, this was 90... 95.
Yeah, but they've always been good.
It was I heard they're crap because of plastic pieces.
Nah, they're great guns, man.
I mean, they're not the best gun, but they're great for its price range.
90% of police forces in the world use Glocks, and that's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
Right. Well, anyway, so nothing. The guy who shot me, he ended up getting charged with assault on the girl.
Right.
And nothing else.
Jesus. But you didn't personally press charges,
he fucking blew your elbow off?
And I tried to press charges.
Oh.
All that they were going to get him for was discharging a weapon in the city limits.
What the hell?
And the lawyers told me that I could sue the people that lived there if they had renter's insurance.
Okay. That's a roundabout process.
I'm you were confused, like, man. So he blows your elbow off, but all he can get charged with is
discharging a
discharging.
So what happened to your elbow, dude? Was it smacked?
You got your range of motion back, though, dude.
Yeah.
That's pretty much fucking impressive.
Yeah, it doesn't go quite straight
all the way.
What is that? Do you have that dent on your other arm? You don't, do you? Like you lost some meat, didn't you?
Yeah.
Put that one up.
Right there. Yeah, he did lose some meat. Lose a chunk of beef.
Yeah, so they took some.
I'm not laughing at you, man. That's fucking.
So they took some bone out of my hip and rebuilt my elbow.
Oh wow!
And it was
the bullet lodged inside?
Yeah. It didn't. There was no exit wound.
Right.
So they had to like pull fragments out and
hollow point, man, turned into a million fragments.
Right. And then eventually the guy, he went to some other party, and did the same thing, like 6-9 months later.
Get this idiot off the streets.
Then he wrecked his car, and he was a rich kid who was, I don't know what his deal was, but he wrecked his car. He got a car through insurance and wrecked that and killed himself.
Did he drive a red Mazda RX-7 at one point?
That's what I know of.
Okay. His
name was Jeff.
He's just born to lose, tattooed on his ass, even though he was rich.
Right. Yeah,
he just had to die.
Well, you can't buy smarts.
Yeah, I don't know if it's smarts or if it's just a desire to die. Bryan, you've shown some disdain even for cases of suicide. I mean, your attitude toward it is, we all suffer the same bullshit, and tell me if I'm wrong. But those who check out, you're gone, man. Almost.
You mean like, I don't know if I say disdain.
Only but when it's anonymous, and this is a theme with you. When something is anonymous, like a group of people or something that you don't know, you're very sort of negative, dismissive of them. But when you know someone, you're the opposite. You're one of the nicest guys. You're generous. You're always there.
Yeah, that's. I don't know if that's character defect or environment, but like if I don't know you, fuck you, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay, I'll buy that to a certain degree. I am like that. What I'm thinking though.
Eat the mic.
I think what you're saying is permanent solution to a temporary problem. That because I know I say that a lot when it comes to suicide.
Yeah, and when I posted the statistics about the Golden Gate Bridge and that they had like a $6 million project being proposed to put like nets or something because it's the top suicide place in America, if not the world, and it was just an article, and I don't know what caption I wrote above it, something, my opinion, something arrogant, I'm sure, but your whole response was, well, they killed themselves, like, no, don't take my tax dollars to, like, build a net, like fuck these guys.
Yeah, well,
but suicide, man, I mean...
No,
those thoughts are strong.
I probably did say that. That's so fucked up.
Or do you think it was just more for humor? A lot of the stuff
maybe.
you say.
I like to bust your chops anyway.
Oh, yeah.
I do.
Because I get ideological and I need people to tell me to shut up.
But I think, though, to a certain degree, I do kind of feel that way. Like, fuck it, if you want to climb up off the Golden Gate, that's probably more my stance on it. Like, fuck it, if you want to climb up the Golden Gate Bridge and jump off, that's your business, man. Like, at least you're landing in the water. The fish will eventually eat you. Like, we don't even have to clean that up. It's fairly considerate of you, really. Yeah. Like, you're not landing on the street fucking giving other people PTSD or jumping out in front of a car, like affecting someone else. I mean, it's your choice. I think
the idea is that a majority of suicide attempts that don't work, they're
attention seeking.
No, well, that's probably true. No, not the fake ones, just the real ones that don't work. Like the guy who survived the Golden Gate Bridge drop and was just destroyed. Like every bone was jelly, and he survived. But he kept on living or whatever and got better. Like a lot of them, it's a temporary feeling.
Right.
It's almost, I feel like the suicidal impulse is usually a false. It's a false argument from a negative element inside you, and it tells you everything's meaningless and nothing has a meaning, and it's all a joke. Which is it's a valid perspective, but it's ideological. You don't know that. You don't know that the universe is meaningless and life is a joke. You just feel it right now, and you might feel something very different later.
Well, it's weird that this comes up a week after I missed last week's show because we're doing a memorial hike for a kid who killed himself. Yeah.
Our good friend, man. Well, not my good friend, but a friend of mine and
Charlie Burnt.
Charlie Burnt. He was a really nice. I mean, a really nice guy.
Yeah, I never knew Charlie. I knew Charlie since he was a baby, and I never knew Charlie to have a bad word.
Never.
For anybody.
Never.
A smile, a handshake. Heck yeah.
It's true, right,
Heck
Mark?
Yeah, you know Charlie, man.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, we had a really nice hike for Charlie last week in a barbecue.
And you said, dude, that's one that just that's a really dark. That really hurts the soul when someone like that goes because you like my friend.
I took it so much harder than I felt like I had a right to because so many people know Charlie so much better than I do. But you don't have to know Charlie good to know he was like you said, he was a really nice person.
Really, like in the top 1 percentile of niceness.
Of niceness, yeah. And the world was a better place with him in it.
Yeah, it's and to know that he was going through this horrific.
The
dark
whole thing about
thoughts.
mental health, though, I would say this: like, don't take the tax dollars to build a fucking net on the Golden Gate Bridge. Take those tax dollars and put them into mental health treatment.
That's a good
where
point.
They can actually do some good. Because by the time you need a fucking net to stop a guy from jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge, you lost that dude, man. You could have helped him. Point. You could have helped him 2 years ago when he needed it. There could have been more services available to him. Think about how many of these mass shootings are really they started as a mental health issue and they ended up as a gun issue.
That's true.
And there's no fucking outreach. There's no way to get to these people. There's no way to get them treatment.
You did say now. for the listeners, Bryan and I someday soon are going to have a formal debate about gun rights.
We're going to go at it.
We're going to go. I'm going to play the liberal. He's going to play the conservative. We're going to.
I don't even want to play the conservative. I want to play the guy who's for the Second Amendment. I don't want to be. I don't want to ever really be called a conservative.
It's I don't care. You have to be in this case.
You, man.
In this
it's
issue.
Like calling me a douchebag. I don't even want that.
What do you like less, being called a conservative or a liberal?
Oh fuck. Ooh. You know, dude, I'm gonna have to say that they both kind of annoy me equally.
Good man.
Because I'm not either one. I don't want to be called either one. It makes me mad I think that happens to you. You get labeled one or the other by the degree to which you agree with whoever you're talking to. They have to put you in one of those places because they're in one of those places. So it doesn't make sense for them that you're not.
And if you buy into ideology, so if I post Occupy Tucson and Occupy Wall Street Facebook posts, if I share them all the time, and I share Huffington Post and the Salon website articles, then I'm a party line liberal, and I do deserve to be called that. But I don't. That was hypothetical. I don't do that always, but I do.
Well, but what if then you also
not always
post stuff from the New Republic or
the Controversial Times,
the Nation, or
the Conservative Tribune,
and stuff about the Koch brothers, how they're doing great in this area. That I mean, what I find frustrating is everyone tends to think to put someone in a category, and then that covers all the bases. And I think that you have to go issue by issue,
right?
And people will be like, "Oh, I agree with that. No, I don't agree with that."
That's true.
Doesn't that kind of get to the radical agnostic approach though? Issue by issue.
Yeah.
Like I'm not here to tell you that I might be conservative on this issue,
right?
But I'm not on that.
And the problem is most people are too overworked and too tired to want to address each issue individually. They would rather take a package deal, an ideology that gives them all of the issues in one package. Prepackaged, baby, American consumerism.
So I don't even know if that's true. As much as I think...
Do you agree with anyone ever?
Well, what I'm saying is, so conservative or liberal groups, they want people to buy the whole package.
Right.
But...
Especially a media organization that benefits financially.
But I think most people, if these people were going to sit down with them and talk to them for 15 minutes, I think most people would answer the questions. I think they want to go what are you though? Are you conservative or liberal? Okay, you're conservative. You're on our side. Yeah. This will be a statistic we can use to get more money to.
And you'll see radical liberals or radical conservatives disowning moderate liberals or moderate. Right. They'll say, no, you're fooled on this issue. You agree with us on most issues, but when you say this such and such, nope, you're not one of us.
Right. I mean,
but there is though an essence to liberalism and an essence to conservatism. There's something very fundamental about humanity that is represented in these two categories.
But
right?
Life and people's opinions, I think, are way more gray than what are usually represented.
True.
Like Bruce Jenner. Jenner's
they're tempered by experience, which is so individual.
Actually, you're right. No, I'm wrong. Those aren't fundamental human properties, liberalism and conservatism. You're right. Those are conditional, man. Each actual person tends to address each issue individually, right?
Right, yeah.
So what are you conservative on, though? Because there is an essence to the two things. Liberalism is a very Christian, actually, essence. It's a very New Testament, Jesus, gospel, turn the other cheek, help the poor, give up your possessions, help the underdog. Those are liberal values, and those are Western values. And a lot of atheists don't realize 2,000 years of Christianity in Europe has had a big effect. Yeah. 2,000 years under one religion. And that has had a major effect on today's liberals, who most or many of which are atheists. They don't realize liberalism is a Christian value. It's a New Testament, Jesus Christ value, right?
Right.
So, I don't care if there's a long pause.
That's pretty fucking deep, actually, man.
But
I think we should get drunk every time we do this.
I just came out of a fugue state. I don't know what happened.
What happened?
So what I would say differently, or that I don't agree with that, is that what if people don't want to be saved? That's the thing for me with liberals and Christianity and all that is the Messiah. We all need this Messiah to come and save us.
Obama.
We need whoever it is. Obama,
Jesus.
George W. Bush.
Do you feel like
Sarah
that?
Palin?
But you're saying you're
is.
saying this is a liberal thing, right?
That's a liberal thing for the most
savior.
part. Conservatives seem
They're more pessimistic.
Conservatives seem to say you have to help yourself.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. That's what I was about to say.
Self up by your bootstraps.
We're overloading the audio. Just if you're going to talk, go ahead.
Sorry.
So
conservatives seem to think that, whereas liberals, like you were saying,
right,
and it's
help each other.
Influence from Christianity, I believe.
Yeah, communism, cooperate, Jesus.
Right, and you need this Messiah, this overbeing to come.
Brian,
I think when conservatives say "pull yourself up by your bootstraps," that's like their rallying cry, but they don't fucking believe that, because at the same time they're saying that, they try to pull all the means out from under people to do that.
Oh, true.
To pull yourself up by your bootstraps. They're fucking defunding education. They want to take away
while giving hundreds of millions of dollars tax breaks to the 1%.
Yeah, to the 1%. So that's not what they really. They don't really.
Neither
need
side
it.
is legitimate.
They're all
Neither side is sincere.
Let me clarify. What I'm saying is that the what either side says and the basic understanding of the tenets of that, not what they actually do. Humanity is largely bullshit. Humanity largely is hypocritical, does not do what they tell other people to do, or even believe what actually comes out of their mouth.
Yeah.
So that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying
that's why I'm eternally sad, John.
Yeah,
because of that sad fact.
Intelligence
that you just pointed out.
I don't want to claim to have it, but
it's not
it
just
tends
intelligence,
to.
Though it's empathy. Do you think that empathy is more important than intelligence?
Well, supposedly I was reading some report about
they're both good.
Empathy is a representative of higher intelligence.
Oh.
The higher your intelligence is, the more empathy you have. Supposedly, there's something I was just reading, but at the same time, I just read a report that the FBI, you guys might have read it too, about how the FBI. Criminal cases with skin and hair and blood and stuff.
Forensics.
The forensics. They had lied about for the last 40 years.
What do you
cases. Mean? They had lied.
About the results of tests?
Said the results of these tests were to prosecute. Were overwhelmingly the evidence.
Falsified?
And the scientific evidence did not prove.
In actual cases against individuals?
14 of them who are already dead. So
by
38
execution?
different cases that they're on death row. 14 of those have already been
Wait a minute. You're saying that the FBI admitted this recently or something?
The FBI admitted this recently.
Oh, you heard it first here on the Radical Agnostic people.
See, I'm gonna stop. I'm going to stop watching news audio. You know what I saw before I came
here?
You know what the last thing I saw before I came here was?
Can
I tell you?
Yeah.
It was some guys supposedly from the Azov Brigade in the Ukraine fucking crucifying and burning at the stake a prisoner.
What?
And saying that this is what we're going to do to all. That's what I saw before I came here, man. It's the last thing I saw.
You know the great Dan Carlin, who has one of the best podcasts around. It's called Hardcore History, and another one called Common Sense. This guy is awesome. He's in the middle of the road. He's a historian, dude. And his first impression about the Ukraine-Russia thing was that it's not that big of a deal. Like this is all posturing, and we'll figure this out. Then 2 months later, he came out and said, "I'm kind of worried about World War III because it's the U.S. versus Russia." Really bumping up against each other in Ukraine right now.
Yeah,
it's not good.
I heard, and I can't verify this, but I heard we have boots on the ground in the Ukraine now. We have troops over there.
I don't know. I would like to find out if that's true.
I know Andy. I know Andy DeStramps knows. So if you're listening to this, Andy,
Andy, write in, baby.
Yeah, please write into the Facebook site and tell us if
Obama
he
has
knows
said
us.
that he wants them there. Obama stated that he wants them there.
Well, that's
so they're not there.
Warmonger.
Eat, drink, Democrats, and be merry, because it's going to...
American Democrats are such assholes. They would be Republicans in Europe. I'm not kidding either.
No, they suck so bad.
They would be. Europe is so liberal, and I understand conservatives that therefore hate Europe, or at least have a problem with it. That's fine. I understand. Because look, my whole point is, the more I think about things and the more I do this show, the more I actually question my liberal values. They feel right to me.
You're too smart to be a liberal, though, dude.
Yeah, but liberalism, Bryan, is all about empathy in its pure form. In its pure form, not how it's actually practiced. Conservatism is not the opposite of that or anything evil. It's just, it's more pessimistic. It's like, here's the real world. Let's not try to fuck with the rhythms of the real world. In other words, the poor
See, and that's where I find myself somewhere in the middle, because I have a lot of empathy, but I'm also like, here's the real world. But also, I'm like, let's fuck with it.
What do you mean?
I mean, I have a lot of empathy.
Right.
So I can relate to the liberals on a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I also feel like this is the real world.
Right.
Like the conservatives do. But in contradiction to the conservatives, I'm not like, don't fuck with the rhythms of the real world. I'm like, no, let's fuck with the rhythms of the real world, because unless we do, we're never going to affect real change.
That doesn't make you a liberal. It makes you a visionary.
We have to fuck with the rhythms of the real world, or we won't ever get change. Well, change is a fucking...
No, I agree with you. But the difference that I see between them, and the reason that if I'm going to sway towards one side or the other, it's going to be... I'm going to be conservative more than liberal.
Wow.
Just because... And I don't disagree with... I don't disagree with liberals appearing to have more empathy. But I don't think that's the case.
But don't worry about the other people, though, Mark. Just say which pure ideology do you identify with. Don't worry about the hypocrites.
So for me, conservatism is about the individual, and it's about the individual helping out the other individuals or himself or whoever. Yeah. Whereas the liberal is about creating a strong central government then to help you out in your life.
Right.
That's not what I want.
To feed the poor.
I don't want an overlord.
To feed the poor.
I don't want a big brother. I don't want a big sister.
Then you're libertarian. Which is an element of conservatism.
It sounds a little more libertarian.
Or anarchist.
But isn't anarchy the violent overthrow of the government?
No.
I don't know the definition.
Well, you're just thinking of actual movements in anarchy, which are few and far between and have resulted in violent, civil wars. But anarchy in its pure form is simply... society without government.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, and I would be fine with that too. But everyone wants to say, "Oh, anarchy would never work." How would you?
It wouldn't work the way this works. We wouldn't have what we have now.
My mind's open. But
dude, libertarian it's such a rabbit hole, man. They have no historical evidence to look back on, and they just say, well, I think this would work. No government and private companies will take over the building of roads.
Doesn't that in a way though intrigue you? Like maybe this would work. That whole
it did. I was a libertarian.
Maybe this would work.
Like a year ago, for a year, I was heavy into it, and then I started listening to Stefan Molyneux, this Canadian brilliant genius, anarcho-capitalist, meaning he loves capitalism, but he hates government. He thinks government is the problem. And he's so smart and so ideological that eventually I realized this is bullshit. This is a dogma. They don't know if this is going to work. It does intrigue me, but when you get to things like police forces, well, what's the libertarian answer? Private police forces, just like we have Blackwater. What do you think, Bryan? What do you think the liberals going to do about police? The taxes pay police. They hate taxes. They hate government. Private security forces. I'm reading Snow Crash right now by whatever, Neil something. Sci-fi book, famous sci-fi. And this is the future. Everything is a brand. All the police forces are a brand.
Yeah.
They're just a company.
Well, private security forces, to a degree, they frighten me.
Well, why
government doesn't quite frighten you as much as that does.
Why do you even need a police?
But now you got to
force?
remember though,
why do you need police?
Yeah, why do you need police?
We don't live in small communities anymore. I think what you're saying is in small communities you can live without police, but we don't live that way anymore. We live in urban environments.
You have to have some type of.
The police are doing what?
Well,
enforcing laws.
I'm going to say this: the
there
police
should be no speed limit.
Oh my God, we should try it without them for a while,
Yeah,
and then I think everybody else would start to appreciate them a little bit fucking more if they were gone for a while.
Opposite.
Like I'm not. I haven't always
because Mark, without police, you could actually have armed gangs that dominate whole communities.
Yeah,
just by their will,
like in Mexico. You can get the community to get together and kick those armed gangs' asses.
Yeah, but I don't
not
think that's
winning,
what's happening.
Mark.
They're getting their asses kicked. But no, the cartels are winning.
They have so much money, Mark. They have literally billions of dollars.
You can watch videos on Live Leak all day of cartels just taking over towns and running up in houses and fucking gunning people down, and then you find like 50 people's heads along the roadside. The citizens are not winning in Mexico.
And there are some communities, I can't remember the name of them right now, that have taken their communities back.
Yeah, there are.
Well, I'll stand up to take the community back. Man.
Bryan would be down.
Don't fucking question my means.
But also, those cartels should never have been able to get that amount of money. The reason they got that money and those guns and whatever else is because of the laws.
The war on drugs in the U.S.
Because of the cops.
Oh, good point.
Oh, man, we're in there now.
God damn it.
We're in there
Nothing
now.
is simple.
We might just cut the beginning of the show and start here.
Start here. Let's keep going.
We still got beer.
When we go long, it's a very tedious editing process. I literally have to listen to the whole show again, but much longer because I keep stopping and deleting and adding and changing.
Do you need editing help, man?
You're not going to help me.
I will help you, man. I got love for John Berger.
I don't
say your name right, but I got love for you.
So I had a question. Oh, sorry.
Yes,
John,
please. Go ahead.
Have either of you guys read the Rousey book?
What's that?
No.
The new book that the big controversy is that Walmart is saying that they're not going to carry it, even though they are carrying it online.
What is this book?
Because it's violent.
An autobiography that she wrote.
Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't hear about this.
I'm reading a lot of cool stuff right now.
All right, we'll get to that. So, what is this? Walmart won't carry it?
Yeah.
What did she say?
Well, they are carrying it, but they don't want to put it out in their stores, like on display, because this one guy, I can't remember who he is, if he's the CEO, or he thought it was too violent.
That's called a brilliant marketing ploy.
Right.
By Walmart.
Right. But
get publicity for the book.
You can go
but
online.
we're still carrying it, but
we're
not sure about it. We're
not
sure if we should. It's really weird. It's a great, crazy book.
So anyways, there was this controversy about it, and someone on Facebook said that was censorship.
Well, it is.
That the controversy was censorship?
That the guy saying he's not going to put it on display out in the store, that's censorship.
Well, is that censorship, or is that just a certain dude deciding they don't want to sell a book? Because there's so many books out there.
In a capitalist society.
He's just not putting it on display.
Yeah.
No, it's not. That guy can't. His actions don't constitute censorship.
No.
That has to be a government.
That has to be like a government.
Like the book is still printed.
Yeah.
Nobody told her, hey, if you take
this paragraph anywhere, you just can't get it at Walmart.
Right. And if they don't sell it, everyone else that does is going to make more money.
Oh, yeah, because she's the freak of the week, man. Everybody
Ronda
wants to see
Rousey
Ronda.
is amazing.
Yeah.
And for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fans out there, Mackenzie Dern from our very own Arizona, daughter of Megaton.
Yeah, and this is big news.
Beat in Abu Dhabi no-gi grappling competition.
No, they had gis on.
Oh, wow. Abu Dhabi with a gi. One of the top 3 grappling competitions in the world. Little Mackenzie Dern at, 130, 40 pounds?
She's tiny.
She's got big...
she's tiny. You shouldn't even say that.
She's...
She'll kick your ass.
She will. She'll tap me out.
Yeah,
I'm a fucking brown belt, and she will tap me out.
And I'm going to tell y'all right now, John, like, if you think you can fight, come fight John Berger, and then you tell me how good you think you can fight when you're done. That's what I'll tell you.
I can do a few things.
That's what I'll tell you. He knows a little bit about beating your ass.
Mackenzie Dern beat Gabby Garcia, the 250-pound monster female Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion who never loses.
Ever.
She wins gold, and then she wins gold in her weight class, and then she wins gold in the open class where all the weight classes fight each other every time. And Mackenzie Dern has been in that open class final like 4 or 5 years in a row with her. And Gabby Garcia at 250 pounds, this woman. And she's an awesome black belt.
How tall is she?
She's
about 5'11".
I bet she's as tall as me.
Yeah.
She's
about 5'11" and maybe 6 feet.
She's big.
And big. And little Mackenzie Dern finally beat her a couple days ago.
And if you saw Mackenzie Dern like in makeup and a dress, you wouldn't think she could beat up anybody.
Right. She just looks like a nice, attractive young lady.
She's a very pretty girl. She's very unassuming. You can see her at any of the Arizona tournaments. She's a nice
Yeah,
kid,
we've seen her and met her a bunch of times at the tournaments that Bryan and I go to. Another piece of news. Guys, going to a jiu-jitsu tournament and fighting, walking out onto that mat alone against your opponent, and all the shit that leads up to that is one of the most nerve-wracking and difficult and challenging things you'll ever do. Like I said, stand-up comedy is terrifying. Didn't really bother me because I've gone through jiu-jitsu competition. Well, last night, Martin Escobar's son, Martin was a guest on episode 2.
Right.
His son Levi fought in the cage at the TCC, Tucson Convention Center. Cage fighting, guys. MMA. He went out there. Now, the reason I mentioned Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competition is that it's terrifying and it's nothing near the fear and the pressure of an MMA fight in a large arena with hundreds of people and
almost naked,
and everything's on the line. Punching, kicking. You guys know what MMA is. You can grapple, you can punch.
And how old is Levi? 18?
19.
19. Young
19-year-old kid. He goes out there. So I'm telling you, man, I've thought about fighting in the cage before. I probably never will. I'm getting a little older now, and maybe that prime has passed in a way. But I don't do it because I'm too scared. I'll be completely honest. It's terrifying to have people screaming at a jiu-jitsu competition. You don't have like screaming fans. Like there's a lot of people there, but there's no like, and now,
yeah,
you know, that must be so scary. And yeah, anyway, Martin's son Levi, 19 years old, went out there last night and beat the crap out of a guy who had a lot of skill, a tough guy, and just beat his ass and tapped him out twice, which sounds crazy. At the end of round 2, Levi tapped the kid out with a rear naked, and the bell rang. And the ref probably doesn't know anything about jiu-jitsu, so he just didn't even see the tap. So they went to round 3, and Levi tapped him out again with a triangle choke. So congratulations to Levi Escobar.
Yeah.
You're a warrior, my friend. You're a young man. Follow the path. Just have a great life, man, because you are very impressive, and we're all proud of you.
Well, I want to say something on top of that. Like, the first time I met Levi, he was hopping out of the back of a car, and he was like 9 years old.
Yeah.
And his mom was handing me the phone.
A little kid.
We had started there about a month, and I talked to Martin, and he said, "Hey, man, can you watch my kids till I get to the gym?" And so I'm watching this kid, and I'm worried that I'm gonna fuck it up, like he's gonna get around the corner on me or something, and Martin's gonna fucking destroy me when he gets there.
Us guys with kids,
and K1's bitching because he's like, why the fuck does he ask you to take care of his kids? And I'm like, well, probably because you're irresponsible. Like, I don't know you that well, but I can tell you're not. You know, like I wouldn't ask you to watch my fucking kids.
He doesn't trust you. That's
why. but and then I remember a couple of years ago in a pit sitting at the back, and I think you were in the pit, and Levi was in there, and I told everybody, I said, man, get it while you can, because this kid's coming, dude.
Bryan was right. Levi's a purple belt now, but he fights like a brown belt. He doesn't have all the technique of a brown belt, but he can beat brown belts.
Yeah, he sure gets in my ass, man. It's been a long time since I've had an easy match against Levi.
Yeah. I was going to ask you guys what your walkout music was, but
mine's if I was fighting in MMA, what would your walkout music be?
Hold on.
Give me a funny one and then like your real shit. Like
you do yours first.
If I was a funny one, I'd do something like, I know we used to make the joke like a virgin, but I'd come out to some kind of like like fucking "Shake It Off" by Taylor Swift or something.
I can't.
I love Taylor Swift anyway.
Oh,
I'm just gonna go ahead and
God.
admit I love. Dude, she's 6'1".
I like Taylor Swift.
Yeah, or 6 feet. Like she's 6 feet. Dude, she's 6 feet.
Yeah,
I love her.
I'm not into tall.
I am.
women.
I am.
I like short women.
Anyway, so like that would be my funny one. But if I really had to come out, like I don't know, maybe something by Mastodon right now, like High Road. Or
Dude,
maybe
has to
Gary
be-
Clark Numb. I could see coming out to Gary Clark Numb. That would be fucking righteous.
It has to be really dramatic though, and hard. Or one time,
Ride of the Valkyries.
Madonna, Like a Virgin.
Song of the Ancient Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner.
Some Iron Maiden. That's all right though, dude.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah. Maybe
Mike
Run to
Tyson. There's a band called Coil.
Mortal Kombat.
The theme song. Mark, have you ever heard of Coil?
Yeah.
Coil is this. So the two British guys, and they were actually gay lovers. And this band is so weird and awesome.
They did the music to Hellraiser.
Oh yeah, they
first
did.
one.
Yeah, and some of their music is accessible, sort of, and really beautiful, and then the other half is really experimental and hard and difficult. And Mike Tyson, one of his fights came out to a Coil song,
Really?
which was just noise. It was it was one of their least accessible songs. It was just like. And like hammers hitting stuff.
Mike Tyson, huh?
And Mike Tyson came out to that music, man, and it was just noise. He was so in the head of his opponents. That guy is the best. I mean, I don't know anything about boxing, but I don't care. I'm going to say Mike Tyson's the best ever, dude, and I love that guy.
He's one of the guys that my dad, like I told you, there was like 3 times my dad told me I should come watch this guy, and Mike Tyson was one of them.
Yeah, watch the highlight videos.
He was a monster.
You guys will shit your pants.
That right hook to the body, right hook to the head. It's fucking game over, dude.
When he talks about it
was
too,
game over.
When he talks about it too, he's just like
I imagine my head spinning around like
I
The
wanna
Exorcist
kill.
if he hit me with that.
I want to kill that motherfucker.
I'm
I
gonna
want to come out and
he
kill
told him he
you.
was gonna eat his children.
Oh
I'm gonna eat
my
your children.
God.
Like Mike was a savage, man.
He's awesome now too.
Did Pacquiao and that dude fight yet?
No,
Did they fight yet?
I don't think so.
I don't even.
Who cares?
Thank
like
you, man.
one
Fuck
of
those guys. Who fucking cares?
Like one of them's gonna win, and I'm gonna be like, "Damn, he won!" Like I don't know that. I remember like 5 years ago, this
Floyd's
fight.
gonna win, man. That's how it's gonna go down.
The only thing I know about boxing now is
They're gonna get like $100 million
the Russian
a
dudes.
piece.
The heavyweights, the Klitschko's,
Klitschko.
Klitschko,
Yeah,
yeah.
the brothers.
Vladimir and whoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unstoppable,
Whatever.
technical, strong.
Fuck those guys.
Dude, you can't stop those guys. Dude.
Whatever, man.
Why don't you like? Because they're
like
Russians.
any of
Fucking
like,
Russians.
Because boxing's kind of. I think besides Mayweather, like name a boxer. I can't name any. I don't fucking know.
but so why-
in
boxing
America?
sucks.
American boxers like they're who?
I
Where
said
are
it
they?
on Facebook. Boxing is to MMA as batting practice is to baseball.
Yeah, okay,
It's just one element of fighting.
Yeah.
That's all boxing is.
Right.
And
So how come more boxers aren't getting involved with MMA? Is it just
scared.
because of Is it just because of the different leagues or whatever?
No, it's because you can still get a lot of money boxing. It's a very lucrative sport. Probably equal. The top guys in boxing still make way more than the top guys in UFC. But the middle guys probably make comparable rates. Yeah. So you can just learn one skill. It's like becoming a Brazilian jiu-jitsu master and never learning how to punch anyone. And you just rise to the top of jiu-jitsu. Right now, that's not very lucrative, but you can still live off of it if you're one of the top guys in the top maybe 50,
You're
25.
not getting rich, but
you can live
off
off. But boxers will get rich being in the middle, being contenders. You know, they'll make $100,000 for a fight, and then these guys, of course, are making what 20, 30 million. Mayweather, Pacquiao,
dude. And this fight, I think they're into the 9 figures.
Oh, gee, 10 million. So
no, 9 figures.
No, 100 million.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's why. The boxing is lucrative. There's still a lot of people out there who like it.
Chuck Liddell never made 9 figures. Chuck Liddell probably never made fucking 8 figures.
No, he didn't. But he made millions.
Yeah.
But
I think
anyway,
the most he ever got for a single fight though was like $750,000.
Well, that was the old days.
And fucking Floyd Mayweather's been paid in the fucking, in 2 fights. What did he say? I saw this thing. He was talking shit like $175 million in 2 fights. $175 million, 2 fights.
So they don't want to have to learn a whole new aspect of fighting, Mark. That's why boxers don't come over.
But you don't think it's because of the leagues too, like the managers and whoever of either sport, like that would be sort of like combining them. Like right now, it's like say boxing is Democrats and MMA is Republicans. Like it's like they're both
tribal.
Well, tribal, and they're like they each can be the master of their own domain. You know what I mean? They're only fighting. If you combine them, then there's more competition.
Yeah.
More.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's harder.
This is going to be the last great fight for boxing.
I think you're right.
It's
good
over.
prediction. Good, right here on the Radical Agnostic.
Like boxing fans enjoy it because this is the fucking end. It's over. This is your swan song.
The crowds are going to fall off.
Yep,
they're going to be like, "Oh, that was the fight. It was 7 rounds, and Pacquiao did something."
There's no more good fights left in boxing. It's done. This is it. This is what boxing fans have been waiting for years. It's the only thing I've ever heard boxing fans talk about for years. When's Manny Pacquiao going to fight Floyd Mayweather? Now that it's happening, boxing can just go ahead and die. Bye.
Look,
but that's what I'm saying.
Peace out.
So, but all these sports, all these aggressive fighting sports,
yeah,
I would think that it'd be even more lucrative to have like Klitschko's versus.
Jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah.
But that's what
to determine the top.
But no, but Mark, that's what
the UFC started as.
That's what it
like
started.
Style versus style.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I remember that. But now it's not like that. Right. Well, after
no, because now you can't win with just like
so
one
much.
thing.
No.
You have to look at other aspects. You can't just win with one thing.
Yeah.
You need a solid foundation in one thing.
Well, because what it was in the beginning is that Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys could go in there and win the title at the UFC because they'd be fighting boxers or karate guys or kung fu guys or taekwondo guys or Muay Thai guys.
Who knew nothing about fighting on the ground.
And they would, or even wrestlers, and it would go to the ground. And
right.
the jiu-jitsu guy would just submit the dude.
Right.
And now they've all learned ground game.
Right, and that's also when it got kind of boring and the refs were making them like get up after a certain...
Exactly.
Well, you know what? Let me ask you this. Does anybody... Have you guys been watching MMA lately?
Not too much.
Because I'll tell you what's got me is the female fighters.
I watched the last...
And I'll tell you this. Have you ever seen... But do you watch the other female fighters? Have you ever seen a boring female fight?
No.
Yeah.
Dude, they come to fight.
Yeah.
The guys...
Same with jiu-jitsu.
Honestly...
The female fights are fast-paced because you got smaller people. Smaller... That's all it is. That's all it is.
I think women in MMA also right now, they feel like they still have something to prove.
Definitely.
So they're coming out there and they throw down and they're very technical and they're very good fighters. You know, like when you say... You can't say the words fight like a girl anymore because it means something different because those girls can fight.
Good point, man. If you follow Bryan enough, you'll actually hear a uniquely feminist viewpoint. From Bryan. He likes strength in women.
I love strong women.
When I brought up the book that Rousey wrote and how it was not going to get shown in Walmart because they thought it was too violent or whatever, someone had talked about they didn't like Rousey because they felt she wasn't even an athlete anymore, that she just was like this bloodthirsty beast and just was trying to like not just like prove her
but like derive joy from hurting.
But yeah, she was actually like just wanted to kill the other person. And I was just like,
not true. It's a persona that she puts on.
Even if it is true,
right?
What's the difference between that and anyone else in a sport that wants to beat the other?
Okay, yeah. Let me cross over a little bit. Like, do you think Ray Lewis didn't want to deliver the hardest hit he could deliver to the running back? He wanted to fucking mash that guy in the hole. He wanted to meet him in the hole and smash him so that dude didn't want the ball again.
Right.
He didn't want to carry the ball. When you saw Ray Lewis across the line from you, like snarling, waiting to fucking destroy you if you got handed the ball. You didn't want it.
Right.
He wanted to punish you every time you got the ball. When Ronda Rousey's coach comes out and says she's a little bit of a sadist, I'll always remember those early jiu-jitsu classes where Josh was telling us, like, when you go north-south, get the knot of your belt and rub it in his eye, get it across his nose, like make him suffer. That's how you beat a champion. You make him suffer.
Yeah, dude. When it comes to these upper levels of combat,
make him suffer. Make him
have
hate his life.
You don't do this in class, but if you're trying to get a rear naked choke from the back, you start at the ear and you can use your knuckles even. You rake down the face. You bend the ear. You try to hurt the ear.
Or you do that mean shit where you grab under his nose and lift his head
well, I've never.
That's so fucked
I've never
up.
done that, but I do. On poor Alexis the other day. I took his back because I'm hurt, so I have to get the taps where I can.
Oh, God.
So I pulled his. I tried to get the.
Y'all heard it right here. Ego at brown belt. Y'all heard it right here.
I have not entirely
ego at brown belt, man.
Gotten rid of my ego.
Alexis, I love you, man. I'm sorry for how mean John
all
is.
I did was to pull his forehead back to open up the neck for the rear naked choke. I didn't do the nose. It didn't hurt him. It might have hurt his bones a little.
Is that illegal? Or?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not. But
totally cool.
I just like John's the mean brown belt. Like,
Not
I'm the nice brown belt.
Oh,
John's the mean one.
Then what's Luis?
Oh, you're right. Luis is
All right.
all right. You're
I'm
right.
a moderate.
You're the moderate. Yeah. I'm the liberal brown belt.
Yes.
John's the moderate. Luis is the hateful.
We should probably fucking end this show, but it's so much fun.
Yeah.
We're at an hour and 45.
We should drink more when we do this.
Well, there's only one other thing that I can think of that I want to bring up.
Go.
Did you guys hear about the case? The university, the girl said this guy had raped her. Cops said that they didn't have enough evidence, so they weren't going to pursue it. She started carrying a mattress around on her back.
Oh, yes, I did
The
hear
whole
that.
entire time she was going to class, just walking around campus.
Right,
she just had this mattress on her back.
All right, I read about it a while ago, but I haven't seen anything about it since.
Okay. Well, she was an art student, so she used this as
A project.
an art project, and use it throughout the whole entire.
Are you
year.
about to tell me she was lying?
Well,
We don't know.
Just recently, I don't know. I just read it a couple days ago. There was new evidence. The guy is suing the college. The guy is suing the college for not protecting him and allowing that to go on or whatever. Because there's now new evidence that his lawyer has provided of text messages and emails from the girl to the guy before the rape supposedly happened and after the rape supposedly happened, of her flirting with him and talking about sex and wanting to have more sex with him and blah, blah,
They
blah.
both sound like assholes.
And
I don't know enough to comment.
Right. But they both sound like assholes because he's pursuing all this legal minutia, and she's carrying around the mattress as part of an art project.
So are we saying that, like,
Someone in Africa who gets raped doesn't walk around with a sign that I mean,
well,
I don't know if she did. I'm sorry.
Well, no,
I'm half in the
know.
bag. Is there like some suspicion that they're kind of in on it together? That like he's capitalizing it by suing, but
I don't think so.
No, I think the thing is that they're trying to say that he didn't rape her at all, and that she used this.
Okay, then I'll just say two things about it. Like, I think rape is one of the lowest fucked up things you can do, and I think if you did it, then we don't have any use for you. You can go. We can take you out back and pop you in the back of the fucking head, and I'm done with you. If we know 100% for certain that you did it, it's one of the most horrible things you can do later, dude. You're a mad dog. We should put you down.
Right, but you're talking about violent, forcible rape.
But
there's a big definition, right? Like you wouldn't say that to a guy who grabbed a girl's boob at a party when they were drunk.
No, that's
slaps him.
That's sexual battery. That's a whole different. But rape, like forcing yourself
for sure.
inside of, like,
Yeah.
That's That's the worst thing you can do. And honestly, to tell you the truth, it's the only time I ever ratted on anybody in my whole life. I knew these dudes had raped this girl, and I told him to his face, "I'm fucking ratting on you."
Awesome.
I'm fucking ratting on you, and I did.
keep in mind.
No, and
this girl's.
good.
But the other thing is though, if you lie on a guy like that, that's like almost.
It's almost as bad.
It's almost as bad.
It's almost as bad.
It's almost as bad as actually raping a girl, and that's fucked up to say, but it's a horrible thing to put on a guy because even if he gets exonerated, that shit's always going to hang over. There's always going to be people who believe he fucking did it,
and not just on the guy. Not just the guy who is accused, but when you do that and you lie about it, and then it's found out that you lied about it,
every other victim,
then every other real victim
gets their testimony
gets their shit pointed towards you. Yeah. Oh, well, what about her? She said that too, and did blah blah blah.
Feminists' greatest enemy should be the false rape accusation.
Right. And
however,
and so my point about this whole thing was because I don't know if the dude did it, if he didn't do it. I don't know what the text messages show, but I do know that. So this is all getting commented on, right? Because it's a news article.
Right.
It gets posted on Facebook. Then it gets commented by the local yahoos out there, whatever. Pretty much every girl thought that the guy had raped her. And every guy thought that he hadn't raped her.
Right. With no information.
With no information other than what I pretty much just told you.
Ideology.
Right. Ideology. And what it came down to near the end of the things was this girl, whether or not he raped her or not, she had First Amendment rights to say and do what she wanted.
That doesn't seem to come into it at all. It shouldn't come into it.
Well, okay, so First Amendment rights to do and say what you want, but
who is saying that? The girls?
Yeah, anybody that was
on
the side of her and thought she probably got raped.
You know, from an intelligent perspective, there's nothing to say about this because we don't know what happened.
Right.
But I will tell you this. As far as how many rape accusations are true versus how many are false, at the lowest possible estimate, and I've read the statistics on this, the lowest estimate of how many rape accusations are true, 90%. Okay? That's the lowest.
I would have thought it would be more.
It probably is. It's probably that 95% of rape accusations are true. Right. It's hard to compile data on that because how do you? But when you add together all the attempts, it's at least 90% of rape accusations are true. Therefore, in this case, even though I don't know what happened, I do understand the liberal approach of erring on the side of the woman because she probably, in terms of probability, did get raped. So that's my perspective.
90% at the low.
Well,
follow the numbers.
Well, I know that most rapes don't ever even get brought up.
True.
Most people don't ever report a rape.
True.
So I mean, I completely understand what you're saying and agree with that.
That makes me feel so fucked up just because of how many are actually reported, and to think that most don't get reported, and there's still that number reported. And so I'll tell you this, fellas, there's a bunch of you motherfuckers out there that are sick.
Yep. You get off on this power thing, man. It has nothing to do with sex. You probably can't even get it up in a normal situation.
Yeah, you're a punk. I'll tell you right now, if you're out there listening, you're a fucking punk, dude. And I
don't care if you raped a woman or a man, because that happens too. Let's not kid ourselves, especially in prison. Most rapes are men, actually, and they're committed by men. So great job, guys. Really representing well.
Yeah, way to go.
I actually got a message back from Dr. Monica Casper, head of the Gender Studies Department at U of A and a feminist. She wrote an interesting book about, can't remember what it's called, but these operations that they do on women who are pregnant. If the baby has an illness, they'll do these operations where they remove the baby from the womb, like fix it up, give it medical treatment, and then put it back. And the medical consequences for the women, from what I've read, are horrible. There's a lot of, you can die, there's a lot of damage that can be done. So Monica Casper wrote a book about that, and she actually responded to me and she said, hey, yeah, I'll be on the show, but later this summer, she's taking a trip somewhere later this summer, so we might have her on here and we can really get into the nitty-gritty of feminism. You guys heard my problems with it last week and my support of it, but I want to get deeper into it.
So what is the They're taking the fetus out of the woman.
Her take is a feminist approach, which is that this medical procedure is dangerous to women, and basically she's against it.
Is it forced on the women?
No. It's one of these situations where...
Are there consequences that they're aware of?
Well, you would think that in a medical procedure...
Yeah,
we got to ask her, man. I don't want to,
See, this is
that's really fucking cool that you got her, dude.
Yeah.
I hope Miss Mays says she'll come on.
Brian's got a guest coming on, you guys. Miss Mays. She's a PhD in biology.
In neurophysiology.
Neurophysiology. Grew up in Iraq. Met Saddam Hussein. Yeah. And this woman... She's a beautiful, wonderful person.
Yeah,
and
I love her.
She was Brian's biology teacher. She's going to come on the podcast
I'm going to get her on here.
You're going to get her, dude.
I'm going to get her on, and she's just an amazing... There's a few people, and if you know me on Facebook, you know I've posted this. There's a few people where I said I met them, and at one point in listening to them or in just being around them, I thought, I want to know everything this person knows, and she's one of those people. She's... fucking incredible, man. She's
Guys,
so smart.
I got a lot of questions about biology. I have a lot of questions about Darwinism. Not evolution. That's obviously true. But certain aspects of Darwinism are actually, there's a lot of good challenges to them. And I want to bring those up with a real biologist so that I can find out why I'm wrong.
There's an interesting aspect that that her and I talked about Darwinism, that right away when I saw it, I thought, this is really...
The development of complex...
Well, the mammalian eye.
Yeah.
And when I first saw it, I thought, man, how did something? I don't want to get cornered by my Christian friends on this shit either. But how did this evolve to this? I mean, how did it? Because it doesn't work unless it's like that. Dude. And how did it evolve to this?
If Darwinism is wrong, though, it's not that creationism is right. It's that we don't understand the science of it yet.
And that's cool. But I mean, when you look at the eye, and she told me, well, it's funny that you say that because the eye made Darwin doubt his theories, and that's why it's largely excluded from his writings. Is what she told me, which sucks because good science is always trying to prove science wrong.
Well, no, like, you know what?
Isn't that good science?
Yes, but honestly, and you're expressing a point that I agree with on a fundamental level, but I read a whole book about evolution recently, and they have an answer for the eye and stuff, and it's okay.
Really?
It's pretty good.
Do you have the book? Because I want it.
No, I read a PDF because I had to do a paper on it.
Oh, I got you.
But I'll lead you to it. But
okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm not saying they have it fully explained, nor am I qualified to make that decision based on what I read. But they do have a theory for how the eye and how the but what it is this theory of evolution is changing, and it should be,
as it should be.
They used to think
theory of evolution evolving. What, like hey man, that sounds about right.
I mean, Darwin thought with the other naturalists of his day that evolution took place over vast time periods, very gradually.
Have you ever read Ken Wilber?
And we now know
quantum evolution.
That's not true. It didn't occur over. It happens in bursts,
like mutations,
fits and starts. Yeah, mutations are a part of it, and then adaptation and everything. Got a lot of questions. That's going to be a great guest. We're also going to get Bryan Varble on here, combat veteran, special forces, real dude. We're going to talk to him about the experience of combat with other enemy troops. Okay, guys, that's going to be really something. And then we're going to get Ray Camacho.
Ray.
A badass perspective from the streets, guys. A real Mexican-American.
And maybe my friend, maybe Spartan Dawn will come on.
Dawn Osborne. Oh, I might cut out the last names.
Yeah.
Dawn, we hope she comes on. Another female guest with a very interesting perspective on life.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, like, I know a lot of tough people.
Yeah.
I know a lot of tough people. I don't know one person on the planet tougher than Dawn.
Bam. She'll come on.
Yeah, not one.
I can't wait to hear her perspective on life.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about all these feelings that we touched on today about disliking life and wanting to end it. I want to hear it from her. Also, Brent Hartley, the great badass.
Yeah, what's up with...
Brent's going to come on, and we're going to talk about...
Bricktop Brent.
Mark, do you have any ideas about people? You brought us Katie Rogers, one of our greatest guests ever.
Yeah,
he has to take a sip of his Trout Slayer.
Yep.
Well, man, we're almost out. I didn't think we'd kill it all, but we did.
We killed that beer. All right, guys. No one's talking anymore. You want Obama?
I want to bring my mom on.
Oh, do it. Let's do it like the Doug Stanhope podcast. No meaning, no rules. Everyone just...
Yeah, that's cool. I want to bring my mom on.
Bring your mom?
Get my dad on.
Dude.
That's Mother's Day when? Today? Is that next week?
My mom's...
I hope it's not today,
my
man.
mom's like half a lunatic. Because
that's
I'm
a
her
great
son.
idea.
I'm her son. She's a military wife, you know. She has a pretty unique perspective on things, and she's
a hardcore conservative.
Oh yeah,
party line.
Ooh,
Republican.
Man. Like I'm scared of my mom a little bit when it comes to that.
When you have a guest like that, you can't just go politics versus politics. Well, what about this? That's not the right way, right? It's just you're just gonna smash into each other in the middle.
Yeah, my mom's good at butting heads too because she's like a good solid Aries.
But you know what happens though when you bring them on and you don't approach them like that? Then they start saying things that they would never say otherwise.
I think you guys would dig my mom.
She's a great woman.
Have you met her?
Yeah,
you met Mom?
yeah.
Okay.
At our one of our promotions.
I'd like to get Dad on here just to see if we can get an actual fucking answer out of him because like the dude will dodge you all day. He was an interrogator, so like.
I'll ask him right up front.
Yeah, he'll counter interrogate you. The dog. He'll be
I know.
You.
Yeah,
like
he's got
fucking
the skill.
guy. That fucking guy.
Guys, I don't want this to become a liberal circle jerk on this show, so I want my conservative friends to write in, tell me why I'm wrong, if I'm wrong, tell me why anyone else on here is wrong. Give your perspective. It doesn't have to be long-winded or fake intellectual like me.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get Dad on because he's very conservative also.
It's a great idea.
But like he's so
the great Paula returns.
I was gonna do some like dog barking or something, but then I thought it wouldn't translate well to the microphone.
I don't know what the sound is. Yeah, it's.
No, I'm just gonna say, hey, Paula.
So, guys, that's it. This is 2 hours. You know, I gotta cut this down. But everybody, thanks for listening. This whole new music sound circus thing by my friend Bo. It's on Facebook. It's on the Radio Dogs Network on SoundCloud. I started promoting it just because he's my buddy and I'm on the same page as him. My podcast is on that same SoundCloud group. But the truth is I listen to his show every Sunday, New Music Sound Circus, and I really enjoy it. It's kind of like indie rock, kind of thing, usually, sort of. And that's not my genre, but I do enjoy listening to 10 new songs every Sunday, so check it out. Like I said, write in, guys. Tell us what you think. Let's end with a quote sent to me. This is Bertrand Russell, the great early 20th century philosopher and mathematician. And Aaron B., our guest from episode 6, sent this in. Quote, collective fear stimulates herd instinct and tends to produce ferocity towards those who are not regarded as members of the herd. Collective fear, herd instinct. That's what we're trying to break down with this show, the Radical Agnostic, guys. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.